Welcome to Blacksburg, Virginia. Tonight, Virginia Tech plays host to the number 3 team in the nation, the Duke Blue Devils. Better not touch that dial. The Hokies have had Duke's number. Twice in the past 4 meetings, Virginia Tech has shocked Coach K and company. In 2005, Tech's first ACC season, the Hokies held on in the final seconds for one of the biggest upset wins in the program's history over then number 8 Duke. Then, last season, Tech went into Durham and beat the then number 5 Blue Devils. Deron Washington blocked Greg Paulus at the end of overtime to seal the win. Tonight, they meet again. It's another upset in store. It's college basketball on ESPN, the Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. Welcome to Cassell, Coliseum in Blacksburg, as the number 3 team in the nation puts its undefeated ACC record on the line. Duke and Virginia Tech just about ready to tip off. Here's a look at the ACC standings. Duke sits all alone at the top after North Carolina was stunned by Maryland earlier this week. Virginia Tech enters tonight 2-2 in conference play. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick, Len Elmore. It's great to have you with us. Duke number 3 in the polls this week, the only undefeated team in the ACC. But this is a tough building to play in, and since they joined the ACC, this has been a very tough team for them to play.
Well, this crowd makes it a tough environment, even when you're averaging 85 points a game with balanced scoring, and you're beating conference opponents by 16 points, as Duke is. But Virginia Tech is a young team. They're a solid defensive team, but on offense, they're going to miss their big fella in the middle, Jeff Allen, suspended by the conference because of an altercation with an official. They got to find a way to make up the 13 points and 8 rebounds he brings to the game.
Our Star Watch tonight brought to you by Saw 4, the movie. Slice into this one, Lenny.
Well, talking about slicing, a slasher. DeMarcus Nelson playing as well as anybody in the conference. And A.D. Vasayo for Virginia Tech, superb shooter from 3, 7th in the conference in scoring.
Taking a look at the lineup first for Duke, Kyle Singler has made a key impact as a freshman. 13 points, almost 6 rebounds a game. ACC Rookie of the Week 3 times. Deron Washington for Virginia Tech, one of the ACC's best athletes. His dunk over Ron Paulus last year is still the play of the decade in the ACC. Carl Hess, Brian Kersey, and Gary Maxwell, the officiating crew here at Cassell Coliseum. And this place is already bedlam. Tipped by Virginia Tech. And Duke will get the ball out of bounds.
Well, Mike, we expect Virginia Tech to come out playing man-to-man. As Seth Greenberg told me today, that's who they are. But they're a tremendous defensive team. You see right there, nice job. Deron Washington taking the charge.
Henderson picks up the personal, pushed off with the free arm. Washington assisted the call with a little added drama. Here's the full court pressure.
I think Virginia Tech expected this. Duke, tremendous in forcing turnovers, particularly on the floor. 11 steals a game in conference play.
Washington into the lane, puts it up, can't hit it. One and done on the opening possession.
It's going to be very important for Virginia Tech to get off to a good start offensively. We talked about losing Jeff Allen. You know, this is a good defensive team, first in the conference in points allowed overall, but they can't put it in the basket often enough.
Pass inside to Thomas. Thomas is fouled.
His foul, 33, J.T. Thompson. That's his first
foul on Thompson, his first. Seth Greenberg rewarded for his good work here with a contract extension that will keep him as the Virginia Tech head coach at least until 2013. And when he joined the ACC, that was a real recruiting blessing for him, and he has made the most of it. He's brought in some really good kids.
Yeah, well, he's built this program pretty nicely in the image that he wanted. Strong defensive team. got terrific guards. Back in the day, Jamon Gordon, Xavier Dowdell among the leaders in steals, scoring, free throw percentage shooting, and terrific defensive players. And that really was the key to their success against Duke, the ability to hit mid-range shots, not to turn the ball over, and apply good ball pressure.
And Delaney, number 23, is a real key to their success this year as a point guard. Nearly lost possession, had to call a timeout there. Delaney, 7th in the ACC in assist-to-turnover ratio. He has done a really good job.
That was a 5-second call. They didn't get the timeout called.
Oh, they didn't give it to him.
Ball is turned over to Duke. But if you're Seth Greenberg, you can live with that kind of turnover because Duke has an inbound the ball. You can set your defense. It's going to be the open floor turnovers, the steals that allow Duke in transition that might burn Virginia Tech.
Paul is trying to feed Singler in the post. Last touch by Virginia Tech. Singler wanted the ball off the inbounds, couldn't get it.
Duke so adept at the dribble penetration, drive, kick, or get the shot. And Greg Paulus, normally standing out there shooting threes, kind of asserting himself in the paint.
Nice dish. Bodies flying as the officials are letting them play right now. Thompson. He's starting because Allen is suspended, and Thompson, who only averages 3.1 but is a physical specimen, has his first basket of the ball game.
He's foul number 2, Lorenzo Hudson, his first second-team foul.
Blue Devils really not sure coming in if they were a top 20 team, top 10 team, or maybe a contender for all those postseason honors. Getting a little bit better handle on it. The only loss they had, Lenny, that game in overtime to Pittsburgh.
And again, the loss to Pittsburgh was punctuated by the play of Juwan Blair inside. Big, strong guy who could really take you inside on the blocks. And Jeff Allen, similar kind of player for Virginia Tech, but unfortunately for them, he's not here.
Blocking foul on Delaney as he tried to draw the charge from Paulus. You can see the defensive quickness that they have.
Well, they certainly try to step in and get you to knock them down, take the position away from you.
Delaney back the other way. This is Vasayo. Tremendous range on his shot if he can get open.
Got to keep good floor spacing against Duke. They're terrific at double teaming you at the time when you least expect it.
Delaney, nice drive. Contact on the way in. Delaney called for the foul. That's number 2 on the freshman point guard.
And Mike, that's the difference between the last couple of years with Gordon and Dowdell, who are very adept at pulling up, hitting the mid-range. Here you try to go all the way. Duke defenders excellent in coming over to help, taking that spot and taking the charge. Good call by the official.
4-2 Duke. Paulus brings it up. Hank Thorne's number 10 in the ball game because of those 2 quick fouls on Delaney. Singler tries a 3. Thorne's back the other way. He's got a good assist-to-turnover ratio as well. 2 good freshman point guards. Vasayo knocked down by Nelson, and he buries the 3.
Well, A.D. Vasayo, excellent three-point range. Last 4 games averaging 17 and 7. And here he just gets an open look. Nelson closes too late. And again, the Cardinal error, trying to block the shot. You're not going to block the three-point shooter very often. Try to get a hand in his face, and Nelson, the senior, obviously knows better.
Vasayo, 3rd in the ACC in three-point percentage, misses the free throw, had a chance for one of those rare 4-point plays. Henderson into the lane, got it. Henderson so good at penetrating. Thorns quickly back the other way.
So Henderson gets himself in great position in top 10 in field goal percentage, around 47%. Averaging 15 points over the last 3, so he's another hot hand for Duke, playing with an awful lot of confidence.
They have certainly picked it up since conference play began. There's Thomas over on the double team. Vasayo kicks it out into the corner. The jump shot by Lorenzo Hudson, who became eligible in the 2nd semester. Another freshman. So many young players on this team. And there's a travel call on Henderson. We told you the star freshman Jeff Allen was not playing tonight. Here's why. Contact with Zelton Steed against Georgia Tech. ACC Commissioner John Swofford suspended him for 2 games. Both Allen and Coach Seth Greenberg apologized on behalf of the school and themselves and apologized to Zelton Steed. It certainly wasn't any kind of violent or nasty contact, but it was contact, and he's got to pay the price for it.
And it was intentional contact.
Yes, it was.
Silly action by the young man. And
Washington down the lane, and Singler will pick up a blocking foul.
And he's hurt his team tremendously. You look at what he brings to the table, almost 13 points a game, 8 rebounds, and he's that inside tough physical presence that has given Duke trouble throughout this season, although for the most part, out of 16 games, they've weathered it 15 of them.
Washington out of New Orleans. His mom, Denise, moved to Blacksburg after her house was destroyed, and there's a history with these teams.
And those two.
Yeah. Washington with a miss. Very physical defense being played by both teams right now. McClure in for the first time for defense and rebounding. It's going to be this pace. It's a good kind of game for him. Singler and Washington with a block.
Oh, man. Sending messages all over the place.
Got some serious hops, doesn't he?
Certainly does. Took the air out of the ball on that one.
Whoa. Elmore-esque.
Providing investment management excellence for over 70 years. Invest with confidence. And in part by the 2008 Focus.
This ESPN telecast available in high definition on ESPN HD, presented by Olivia. Good ball game, 6-6, very physical so far. And Len, this is the kind of defense you expect when you play Virginia Tech.
Yeah, here in Cassell Coliseum, opponents shoot about 34%. In the last 13 games, opponents have shot around 37%. You saw the block shot there, sending a message. Solid defense played by Virginia Tech.
Nelson nearly lost the ball, backing in, goes into the lane. That's goaltending. Washington looked like he had his head over the rim.
Well, if you're going to do that, you do it early. I mean, I wouldn't suggest doing that towards the meat of the game, but right now he's sending a message, and I think that Duke shooters, particularly inside, are going to have to pay heed to the fact that Washington is lurking after the last 2.
McClure comes down on Washington, who apparently has mastered the art of the semi-flop.
Well, if basketball doesn't pay off, there's always Hollywood.
That's right. There's a writer's strike, but he is he's a physical actor.
Duke with that denied defense, probably the best in the conference, maybe next to North Carolina, maybe a tie, at forcing you further out with your defense because they deny you so tough. Makes it so difficult to get into your sets.
Nolan Smith, number 2, in at the point. Shire off the bench. Great pass, and McClure scores. Shire just does everything. Tremendous sixth man. Vasayo, you can't leave him alone. Thompson, blocked by Singler from behind as McClure made contact up front.
We're talking about Kyle Singler. Yes, he can score, but on the screen and roll, or actually on the pin down and the roll, Singler finds McClure. Everybody's paying attention to Kyle Singler, and David McClure, another guy who's given a whole lot of offense to Duke, was found wide open.
Washington fouled by McClure.
Duke foul number 14, David McClure. That's his second.
In fact, David McClure coming into this game only had 4 field goal attempts in the last 4 games. He had a total of 61 minutes. And he's had limited time. That knee has really been giving him some problems. in the past, and
Nelson with the steal.
the finish on McClure has just really gotten him sporadic minutes. But when he's out on the floor, he can make things happen. And that denial right there by DeMarcus Nelson, part of the defensive effort.
Reach in, foul on Nolan Smith. Excuse me, Len.
I said the defensive effort that Duke brings every night.
You know, there's a perception that Duke is a soft team because of their perimeter game. Nothing soft about these guys.
No, they will get out and play you, Ed. They're not going to take any stuff. You saw Greg Paulus give it back to Deron Washington a few moments ago. Yeah. They will not be intimidated.
Washington goes baseline, double team, went up, had it blocked, and then traveled. Came back down with the basketball. The Mountain comes to life on ESPN tonight after our game as coverage of the Winter X12 lifts off. Keep your eye on Chris Durant and an exciting field in the Snowmobile Speed and Style event. Catch Tanner Hall in the Skiing Superpipe Men's Final. Winter X Games 12 on ESPN tonight at 9 Eastern, right after we're done. I like the snowmobile event.
Well, see, I like the super pipe. Shaun White lost his top spot last year. You gotta love those redheads, man.
Give me equipment.
Something that you can motor around.
Yes, sir.
And the snowfall has been really great up in Ashland, so we expect stuff to be fast and furious.
Henderson tried to power it up. Shek Jakite was right there. 6'9", 220, an outstanding shot blocker. And now Seth Greenberg incensed on the foul call.
Well, actually, it wasn't a foul. Thorns lost the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, right.
And they believe that a Duke player touched it.
And to add insult to injury, it happened right in front of the Virginia Tech bench.
Offensive foul, that's right, throwing the elbow. Lance Thomas trying to create room.
That's his first. 17th foul on Duke.
Tough game to officiate right now.
Yeah, it is, because both teams trying to play physical, jockeying for that mental position as far as intimidation is concerned. And neither one willing to stand down.
Great pass inside by Washington. Jakite gets his first bucket. Doesn't take much to get the crowd right back in it. Smith looking inside. Duke trying to post up. Thomas is fouled on the way to the basket.
Well, you take a look at
Jakite.
Just a nice screen, and the guy who's the screener usually is the one who gets open. Jakite screened for Washington. This man never really played Jakite. Again, one of those guys you don't expect.
Smith, great bounce pass. And Thomas gets the bucket.
Well, that's why this team, Duke, is so balanced right now. They're willing to move the ball. 4 guys in double figures, 2 hovering around 9 points a game. On any given night, a different guy can lead you.
Washington. He just turned into a complete player. Vasallo with a runner. Jakite, offensive rebound, missed it. Washington keeps it alive, and then Singler comes out with it. Excuse me, King to Smith. He's rejected. Jakite got back.
5th leading shot blocker in the ACC. You don't want to challenge him too often.
Washington with a miss. King with his 2nd rebound. King played very little against Clemson the other day. They'd love to get him on track with a great range he has. Smith got by Thorns. Missed the shot. Good help defense by Virginia Tech. Washington standing flat-footed, got the rebound and put it up off Delaney's miss.
Well, on the defensive end, Nolan Smith figured if once couldn't do it, he'd try it again. This time Jakite changed his shot, and that led to that transition bucket. You got to have a little bit of discretion. Again, 5th leading shot blocker in the ACC. Got you once, got to find another way to go at him. But do it again.
They gave Smith the lane. He took it and got it up quickly. That time, Jakite couldn't block it.
3rd time the charm.
Got to learn how to adjust, don't you?
And adjust he did. He got a little more arc on it.
16-10 Duke. It's been the most physical game I've seen in the ACC this year. Nice steal by King. Anticipated the pass and got around the recipient. King for three. Look at that shot. Oh, man. That baby was in the second. It left his hand. Duke on top, 19-10 over Virginia Tech here in Blacksburg.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by T. Rowe Price, providing investment management excellence for over 70 years. Invest with confidence. And in part by the 2008 Focus.
Duke is on a 13-4 run and has a 19-10 lead over the Hokies.
Well, Virginia Tech with 7 turnovers, giving Duke extra opportunities, and again in the open floor, that turnover led to a transition bucket, and it's the points off turnovers that really allows Duke to vault out in front quickly against opponents.
Delaney and Thorns are now in there together, both outstanding ball handlers, and Thorns tries the shot, can't hit it. Here comes Paulus on the run. 3-on-3. Shire in the lane, can't get in, has it knocked away. Hudson. Paulus back. Hudson missed. Paulus did a great job just standing his ground.
But Hudson did a terrible job in hitting the open man.
Paulus, great pass, and the layup easily put in by DeMarcus Nelson. Duke now on a 15-4 run, and Duke looks tremendous right now.
Well, Virginia Tech obviously not used to prosperity on that fast break situation. You miss a guy that's wide open coming down the lane trying to do it yourself, and Duke will burn you.
Chiquite.
He's not normally
from Molly.
And he's not normally the back to the basket one-on-one kind of guy. He's usually a guy that's the beneficiary of a penetrating the dish. But that was a nice move. Good one-hand hook.
Well, they don't look to him to score only about a basket a game. In there for rebounding and defense. Paulus in the opening court looking good as a point guard. No look for the Snowbird. Hope you'll join us for those ball games. And Chris Douglas Roberts, the leader of this Memphis offense, 16.5 points a game. Terrific shooter as well, Leonard.
Well, a bunch of tremendous athletes, and John Calipari has molded them into a team. They know who their strengths are, and you're looking at it right there. 2 terrific guards. And if you want championship basketball, it all begins in the backcourt. And Memphis, the one team that has that chance to go undefeated. Sure, they have Gonzaga as a stumbling block. And in their conference, I think Houston might give them a run. But John Calipari's done a nice job of sprinkling in some obstacles for his guys, kind of keep them interested, you know?
Certainly created a lot of excitement down there. Duke inbounding. Nelson out of the corner. Line drive. 3 won't go. Not going to see Duke get very many offensive rebounds. Delaney back on the run, and Delaney just inside the three-point line. That's his first bucket tonight, and it's 21-14.
And even at this stage, about halfway through the first quarter, big hoop to keep Virginia Tech within striking distance. They were pretty even until Virginia Tech started to turn the ball over. Duke has got 9 points off of 7 Virginia Tech turnovers. Pretty much the difference in the ball game.
Paulus trying to penetrate and can't. Gets it back, partially blocked, and it's going to be a foul. And Terrell Bell not very happy with the call. He thought he got a piece of the ball and didn't touch Paulus.
Well, you're going to take a look right there. A little penetration. Yeah, he got him. I mean, Paulus did take a page out of Deron Washington's book.
But he got hit, too.
Right, and you know what? When you try to block those shots, you make any kind of contact. I mean, it's got to teach you a lesson. Get a hand in the face. Sure. Don't try to block the perimeter shooting shot. I mean, that was pretty much a bailout, even though Greg Paulus, 41% from beyond the arc, He's shooting it reasonably well. He's got to make it tough on him.
Makes the first two. Vasallo will come back in the ball game. They need his offense. Hudson goes out, the freshman from Charlotte. Nolan Smith waiting to replace Paulus. And Greg Paulus hits all 3 free throws. Smith will come in at the point. Paulus will get a breather. And Duke has increased its lead to 10. 7 different Blue Devils have scored in this ballgame.
We talked about the balance of this team, and again, because of the unselfishness, it becomes habitual. Guys just continue to find the open man for the Blue Devils.
Delaney pull-up jumper from 17. Bell with a follow, can't get it. Washington kept it alive, and now Bell and Singler woofing at each other. Oh, and Washington, tell you what, Washington trying to stir the pot a little bit. He got right in the middle of that Duke huddle and stuck his arm in there, and somebody pushed him out.
Well, we saw a little bit of this yesterday. Javier Gonzalez for North Carolina State sticking his nose into the Georgia Tech huddle.
But that was a lot gentler and actually funny when it happened. There was no humor in this one.
Right, but there was really no contact. Washington, a little bit of an act as Gerald Henderson just raised his arm.
Bell gets the roll on the first one. He's out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. And Seth Greenberg just playing a ton of freshmen this year. They've all played pretty well, actually.
Well, they know their roles. Nobody's trying to play outside of themselves, at least trying not to, leaving it to a guy like Deron Washington and A.D. Vasallo to really step up. And Washington, after that last little skirmish, man, he might have a future in a soap opera or something like that. A lot of drama. Drama King.
He's on the bench right now, and Singler took his eye off the pass and lost it. I don't think Seth Greenberg wanted to see the pushing and shoving continue to the point that he might lose a valuable player. Where there is contact by every player on every possession. Ooh. Tell you what, I haven't seen 2 games that are as physical as this one. These guys are really going after each other. 8:39 to go in the first half. Duke is on top by 8. And now Washington's back in the ballgame.
And this has been a game where Virginia Tech started out trading baskets with Duke every bit as much in the game as the Blue Devils, and all of a sudden you turn it over and Duke makes you pay.
Turnaround jumper by Singler in the lane. Vasallo back the other way, and he lost it.
Another turnover by Virginia Tech. Can't keep giving Duke opportunities without you getting some field goal attempts.
Well, exactly, and plus, they score so infrequently that when they turn it over, it's just magnified because they don't get that many opportunities.
Absolutely. Even though they're first in overall points allowed in the ACC, they only average 68 points a game,
which is 11th in the ACC. So if they don't have the great defensive game, you know they're not going to outscore anybody.
And missing Jeff Allen's 13 points and 8 rebounds, they've got to find that somewhere.
On the line shooting a 1-on-1.
Seth knows it.
Number 21, DeMarcus Nelson.
Vasallo picked up the personal, and DeMarcus Nelson will go to the line. In and out, and that's going to be a push on King, trying to get the offensive rebound.
Duke fouls number 20, Taylor King. That's his first. That's the 19th foul on Duke.
So they'll shoot a 1-and-1 on this one. And Washington will go to the line. Played power forward a year ago. A little bit out of position for him. More of a natural small forward where he is this year. Misses the free throw. I think Washington's got all conference ability. His numbers were a little higher. King with a miss. but it's tough to get numbers when you're only scoring 68 points a game. Jumper short by Thorne's fight for the ball. Duke basketball. We've gone under 8, and Duke with an 8-point lead over Virginia Tech.
All Rabbit Sports Center 30 at 30 update. Two of the more well-known male sports figures in the world. Tom Brady misses the media portion of the practice. That's the first 15 minutes. Nearly everyone on the Patriots downplayed the ankle injury. And then there's Tiger Woods, a 67 today on the South Course at Torrey Pines, the same course that will host the U.S. Open later this summer. Very impressive for Woods in his first competitive round of 08.
(24-16) Duke over Virginia Tech. 7:57 to go first half. Shire off the inbounds passes. Duke really forced it down. That was a play set off the timeout, and good hustle by King to get back on defense and get a piece of that one.
Well, great opportunities for Duke, particularly in transition. Here they are in the secondary break, and it's so tough with the matchups they have. Here's the man guarding Taylor King. He's going back to protect the basket, and when you got a guy like King with that kind of range, he made that three. He's going to be able to put a lot of pressure on your defense.
Knocked out of bounds. That was off the hand of Lewis Witcher, who's getting a chance to play a little bit here.
You know, Duke, relatively small by comparison to a lot of teams, but the versatility, the kind of matchups that they can get obviously work in their favor because of the range that their shooters have.
King. Oh.
You just don't want to go out that far. You know, Deron
He doesn't mind.
Well, Deron, I'm talking about the defender. Deron Washington used to playing guys closer to the basket, and King like 5 feet beyond that arc.
Hasn't seen a shot inside midcourt he doesn't like. Cassell with a runner in the lane. 27-18. Just watch the screens and guys coming around screens. Everybody gets hit with a shoulder or a hip. Thorns called for a holding foul. ESPN has a couple of great games for you on Saturday at noon Eastern. Gonzaga against the top-ranked Memphis Tigers. Then at 7 Eastern, the action shifts to the Big East. Number 9, Georgetown and Roy Hibbert against West Virginia in Morgantown.
Boy, that Georgetown-West Virginia game should be something, particularly in the Big East where it's just so difficult to win on the road.
That's your game, right?
Yep. Villanova goes into Rutgers after beating Syracuse on the road, and what happens? Boom, Rutgers jumps up and bites them. Cassell,
good job to get by Shire and banks at home. Cassell has 6. He is the 7th leading scorer in the ACC.
And that's the Virginia Tech plan. Get guys on the move, force Duke's defense to move a little bit, and then have the ability to take them off the bounce.
Nelson down the lane. Blocked. I think the foul came before the block, and 4 Duke subs set to come into the ball game for Mike Krzyzewski.
Duke, on the other hand, always looking to attack. I don't know where that foul came from behind. It's kind of a bad angle to be able to see whether or not Lorenzo Hudson created the foul.
Hokies, number 1, Terrell Bell. Number 2, Lorenzo Hudson.
And we've got the benefit of a better angle right here. See, yeah, got him kind of over the head, but only you can see that from above the rim. The important thing, though, it looked like he got it right.
Nelson too strong. Cassell with a rebound. Well, it's even hard to bring the ball up court. It's going to be a foul on Paulus. I think we've reached the point in this game where you can almost call a foul at any second on anybody.
Yeah, and that's a little difficult for players to adjust to. I mean, that foul call on Greg Paulus, I mean, at any given time, when he's handling the ball, guy has hands on him, and they haven't called it. And we talked about the foul down there where it looked like the official had a great angle to make the call. And there have been some physical bumps and bruises that nobody's made any call whatsoever. So you're right, it's difficult to officiate and also difficult for players to gauge how it's being officiated.
Hank Thorne's the freshman from Vegas whose cousin C.J. Watson is with the Spurs. Knocks down a couple of free throws. And the Hokies creep back to within 6. Paulus has got that range. He's not maybe a king as far as range, but he can knock him down. And Paulus with 8 first-half points.
And it seems as though over the years he's quickened his release.
Washington will try a 3.
That's kind of an ill-advised shot. You know, you get to a point where you're kind of in range with Duke, and then you take a quick shot, and that usually winds up being a basket on the other end, but not this time.
Well, he's only a 23% shooter, and that doesn't look like that's the strength of his game, but it is for Paulus.
And again, that quick release. Greg Paulus more confident in that shot, shooting about 41% from beyond the arc. Really much improved on getting those feet set and releasing it quickly.
31-22. Washington goes down. Contact from Henderson as he set a screen. Washington out of control there. Missed the shot, but a blocking foul underneath. Washington may be trying to do a little bit too much.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. It seems as though he's playing outside of himself right now instead of letting the game come to him. And he's making moves against 2 and 3 guys, not recognizing there's some people open. He's a decoy in some instances. Draw the defenders and find someone.
Gets the first free throw. There's his mom, Denise, who moved here after losing her home in New Orleans to Hurricane Katrina.
But we talk about trying too hard. I mean, it's nothing like giving effort. Certainly, right, you have to have some judgment. But if you're going to have a guy that's going to try to take over a game, a guy like Deron Washington on this Virginia Tech team would be the guy, tremendously gifted.
I like his chances. Henderson. That's just great spacing by Duke. They drive into the paint, force the defense to collapse, and then somebody is always in good position to shoot a 3. Hank Thorne's the 5'9" freshman, back the other way to cut the lead to 8.
Well, Virginia Tech not backing down. They have guys who can take you off the bounce, and that's what you have to do to Duke. Get them spread and take them off the bounce. Try to create pressure on that back line.
Henderson is held by Terrell Bell trying to get through the lane.
And once again, if you're Virginia Tech, you recognize the formula for success from the past. As Thorns just did, when you're penetrating off the bounce, you got to be willing to pull up and take a little mid-range shot rather than go all the way, because Duke is terrific at taking the charge.
And those mid-range jump shots, pretty much a lost art in any level of basketball. There's Gerald Sr.
He had a little bit of mid-range game, if I recall.
He had a chance to talk to him before the game. He said, just hope his son is enjoying every minute of this, because this is when you're supposed to be having fun.
Yeah, but fathers usually agonize when they're watching. Somebody better have fun.
Well, he didn't say he was having fun. He said his son was having fun.
I mean, I agonize when I watch my son play high school basketball.
Sure.
Those vicarious thrills. Duke going to a little bit of zone right now. You don't see this often, although this year they probably played it more. A little 2-3 action. I guess Mike Krzyzewski hanging around Jim Boeheim with USA Basketball.
That's right, on the national team. And Coach Krzyzewski was named the USA Basketball 2007 Co-Coach of the Year. Under 4 to go. Henderson, baseline drive. Shire, who has been so great coming off the bench. Shot clock at 7. Paulus.
You can't leave him. You can't leave him.
You can't leave any of these guys. It's going to be a foul, I believe, on Shire as he tried to keep the ball alive. Shire picks up his first personal. We've got a timeout with 3:42 to go in the half.
Ahead on the UPS halftime report, it's all about the Bees. We'll look at Baylor, their 5-overtime win last night, and where they are headed in the future. We'll go from Baylor to Bruce. Now that the topless, shirtless modeling career has fallen apart, he's getting into a new arena. We'll discuss if Fran Fraschilla is in trouble. And the Buick Tiger on the prowl. What an opening round. All that's coming up on the UPS halftime report.
Just can't imagine a 5-overtime game. Yikes.
Yeah, I was just out of breath just reading the account of it. But again, tremendous job by Scott Drew. Baylor now is on the tips of everybody's tongue in the Big 12.
Yeah.
They are a player
That's
in
amazing.
that race.
Bell hits the first free throw. Very good defensive player coming out of high school from Stone Mountain, Georgia. With a future for this team. I mean, you just look at these freshmen.
They're getting plenty of hands-on experience. Force-fed whether they want to or not.
Singler.
Nice.
Oh, what a pass. Got everybody up in the air and dropped it off for the easy layup. Washington just set a wicked screen. Thompson gets a basket, and Shire commits the foul.
Well, Virginia Tech right back at you. And you got to give them credit for not admiring this play right here. Draws the double defenders and has a presence of mind as he's coming down to drop that pass off behind his back. You know,
that's not fair.
Well, we talk about Kyle Singler being a complete player. I mean, at his size, he can take you outside, he can post you up, passes the ball extremely well. What an addition.
And then did you see the screen by Washington? You're going to count your chicklets after those.
And then on the other end, Virginia Tech just came right back at him, which is something, again, for a young team.
Singler picked up his dribble. Henderson came to him to get the ball. 3 minutes to go first half. Paulus calls out the play he wants. Shot clock at 8. Singler in the lane, headed, blocked. Great defense by Virginia Tech. Basayo was waiting for him. The help defense inside's been terrific, Len.
Well, you don't get to be number 1 overall in points allowed without playing terrific defense, without helping each other.
Singler had it knocked away. Washington scored.
Singler's got to be strong with the ball because Virginia Tech is swiping underneath right now.
37-34. Singler right back at the rack. Thorns gives it up to Basayo. What a ball game. Washington kicks it out. This is Bell. Had the 3 and didn't want it.
Plenty of time on the shot clock. Great opportunity to reset. You know, these possessions become extraordinarily important just from a mental outlook, particularly for a young team. Stay close.
Shot clock at 6 up to Basayo. Did everything but go in, but the tip did, and there's Bell.
And Virginia Tech keeps answering, and the longer this young team stays in the ball game, the more difficult it is for Duke to shake them.
Mike Krzyzewski wants a timeout. Nobody can hear him. Finally, one of the officials notices the coach at the sideline, and he gets the timeout with 1:25 to go in the first half. Len, with all the freshmen Virginia Tech has, this is a pretty good comeback to keep their composure.
Well, it's the defense that's really keyed them. You know, some ill-advised shots, but they've been able to make some stops. And then on the other end, they continue to persevere. They keep fighting on the offensive glass, getting to a good position, just trying to keep it alive. Got some fortuitous bounces, but, you know, notwithstanding the good defense, this crowd has really energized these young players. And young players always play on emotion. There's no question about it.
Last minute 42. It's a 7-2 Virginia Tech run. And the freshmen have contributed 51.5% of the minutes this year for Seth Greenberg. That's almost unheard of in the ACC. And they're getting a lot of minutes out of him tonight, even without the suspended Jeff Allen, the guy who is their leading scorer or their leading rebounder and their second leading scorer. 15 on the shot clock as Duke called a timeout in the middle of the possession. Paulus with 8 on the clock. Forced the shot, nearly made it anyway. Here come the Hokies. Thorns. Paulus got a piece of that. Thorns stole it back and saved it.
What
Bell. Washington. Excuse me, Thompson.
Mike Krzyzewski imploring the officials to take a look on that sideline. He thought the ball was out of bounds. But, man, how can you argue with that effort?
King from a mile away. Holy cow.
It doesn't matter where he is. You step up on him, he's going to take another step back and bury it.
He gets off the bus. The wrist is moving.
Well, they might be starting to call him the silencer.
Oh,
just when you think Virginia Tech has gotten the momentum, has an opportunity to take the lead, here comes King.
I mean, there's range and then there's range. That was ridiculous.
And as a defender, like I said, how do you go out there and guard a shooter? It's not in the game plan.
They better learn. Just go on out to 35 feet and wait for him. Washington backing in on McClure. 7 seconds to go and a half. Thorns against Paulus. Had his last shot blocked. Paulus all over him. Washington trying to draw contact and missed the shot. Good defense by McClure. What a good first half. Our halftime score, Duke 42, Virginia Tech 38. Now let's join Carl Ravitch in the studio for the UPS halftime report.
Hi, Michael. Thank you very much. I mean, we see it all the time, and I just can't help but to be amazed by Taylor King. He only averages 9 points, but they're always from 35 feet away. It's a thrill to watch. Meantime, Franny, you look at Virginia Tech. They were down, but, boy, they got some fight in them, don't they?
Well, they got a lot of young players, and they're playing without Jeff Allen tonight, who's been their toughness this season. He's been suspended for 2 games by the ACC for bumping an official, but they've made up for it tonight, particularly in the latter stages of the first half. Look at this great hustle at home, energy, crowd into it, and right now the Dukies have a fight on their hands, and that's usually the case because the last few games these two teams have played,
been great.
A lot of great games.
42-38. Don't forget a couple of the game nights I want to tell you about. 11 o'clock Eastern time over on ESPN2 following the college hoop game. Then again at 12:30 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN. So the highlights from the entire night are coming up. You didn't see it last night or haven't seen SportsCenter today. The Baylor Bears put on a show last night. But today we look forward to what this all means for Mr. Drew and company.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Cisco. Welcome to the Human Network and McDonald's. Welcome back to the UPS Halftime Report.
Now think about it. The hustle from Virginia Tech has made this a close game. They are trailing only by 4, which brings us to last night when A&M led Baylor by 6 at the half, and we all know what happened after that.
Rogers up, made the shot, fouled. Back up and good. 76 all. Davis up off the glass, good. Carroll's all the way down. Layup, good. Davis up off the glass, good. Tied it.
Holmes got it back, put it up. That is it. 5 overtimes. Longest game in Big 12 history. And the Bears win it tonight in College Station.
A win not too long ago, Fran Fraschilla, that many thought would be impossible. You know this program intimately, and now all of a sudden the Baylor basketball program, let alone the school, is sort of back on this map. How low have they sunk, and where are they going?
Well, they're coming off one of the worst recruiting scandals in the history of college basketball. There were people that thought Scott Drew was nuts to leave Valparaiso to take this program over, but 4 years later, he's done a remarkable job of rebuilding it.
All right, you get some Baylor Bear facts. I think there's a lot of things about Baylor that nobody even knew. They thought the basketball program literally was dead.
Absolutely. Waco, Texas, about an hour and a half south of Dallas. This is the best start in over 60 years, and it's the first top 25 ranking since John Wayne got the Academy Award for True Grit back in 1969.
Unfortunately, you think Waco, you think David Koresh.
Right.
You don't think basketball. All of a sudden, people now realize the microwave was cooking there.
Vinnie Johnson, David Wesley, who's had a long career, Terry Teagle, Brian Skinner. So they've had good basketball intermittently through the years, but this is a highlight for a school that really has rebounded remarkably.
All right, Wingo, of course, jury's still out, but he's on the list. Where is this program going?
Well, they're no longer rebuilding, and now they're going to be at the top of the Big 12 the whole season. That remains to be seen. They've got some tough games left, including going to Kansas. But the process that Scott Drew undertook 5 years ago, coming off that scandal, it's officially over. They've rebuilt. Now it's a matter of just getting back to an even footing with the Texases and the Kansases of the Big 12. A good league, but they are certainly competitive.
Everyone wants to know what's next. Oklahoma and then at Texas, and then there's at Kansas. This is not going to be an easy road at all.
It won't be, but they have great guards. When you look at Baylor right now, and you look at teams like Duke, Tennessee, and Texas, their guards are playing as well as any group of guards in the
country. Did we see some of this emerging last year, even in the tournament?
Yeah, we did, because they took Texas 3 times to the wire, and we know how good Texas was last year. So this is a team that's very, very dangerous because of the guard play.
They are on the rise for sure. We'll come back. Look at the other sports. Smaller cups, smaller balls. Golf, Tiger Woods back. Just what does that mean for the rest of the PGA Tour?
This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you? This halftime report is delivered by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
We are on final approach to Winter X Games 12 in Aspen, Colorado. The 4-day winter action sports experience that is the 2008 Winter X Games about to kick off. Soundmaster Kayla here, folks. As you can see, Mother Nature, she's here. Now all we need is for you to be here so we can get this party started, and what a party it will be. How about the debut of snowmobile speed and style, pitting the best riders from all disciplines against each other, and then the Tan Man Tanner Hall and Simon Dumas revving up their rivalry in ski pipe. It is going to be, in a word, epic Winter X Games 12 starting tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Look like the Fran Jet arriving there in Aspen. Meantime, good one going on. Butler Loyola as they meet for the second time, and Seton Hall and Providence separated by only a point.
Providence needs this game as they move towards the top of that Big East.
Tennessee men off. However, the women are playing, and that means Bruce Pearl's back in action. This time with his shirt, tie, jacket on. He's gone to the sidelines to do some color analysis.
That's not a good sign right there. But I don't know a lot about this business, but that's just not a good sign. I want to see Bobbitt get on somebody's shoulders or get on Smokey's shoulders and get that ball down off the rim.
Bjorklund this time hits another one. 8 quick points.
And Dick Vitale, he'd say, you better get a TO, baby. You better get a TO.
Must have been homage to Dick Vitale. I sensed it. He knows good when he sees it. What to watch for? We got more college basketball coming up this weekend. Gonzaga will be at Memphis Saturday, noon Eastern. Do you like Memphis there at home?
Memphis at home is gonna handle Gonzaga relatively easily.
All right. Meantime, we got more games coming up tonight. ESPN2, you'll see Northwestern, Michigan State. Franny will have more on Bruce Pearl at the half. Speaking of pearls, that's another acronym for the golf ball, and Tiger was knocking his all over the course today. He was behind trees. He was in sand traps. He obviously missed a few greens. And nobody gets out of trouble better than Mr. Woods.
He's got more range than Taylor King.
Whoa! Franny from downtown. Bang! Woods, very impressive. He had just one bogey to go with all those birdies. He is a couple behind Troy Madison, who doesn't think he can have another 7-under round in him. Tom Brady missed the first 15 minutes of practice today. Yankees getting close on Robinson Cano, looking like a 4-year deal in the $30 million range. And Joe Wilfred Tsonga upsets Rafael Nadal in the Australian Open semifinals. Second half is right around the corner.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by EAS. Don't waste your workout. And Comfort Suites. Comfort Suites hotels are now 100% smoke-free. Enjoy the fresh air. Book now at choicehotels.com.
watching Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. We're at the half. Duke on top of Virginia Tech 42-38 here at Cassell Coliseum in Blacksburg. Welcome back, everybody. Physical enough for you?
Yeah, I kind of like it this way.
I know you do.
This is a man's world right here. And these two teams obviously have really been going at it. Physical play, 24 personal fouls have been called. Duke shooting the ball extremely well. And Virginia Tech only 42% from the field, but this play epitomizes why they're only 4 down. It's all been about effort. 8 offensive rebounds for Virginia Tech, and they've been able to kind of offset 40% shooting. And you take a look there, it's just a question of hitting the glass.
And Duke with a big advantage from three-point range, as you might expect, and 54% overall. And King has come off the bench to hit 3 out of 4 three-pointers, 2 from a ridiculous area code.
And the officials have had a tough time, keeping this thing civil. Again, 24 personal fouls called.
Basayo with a big start to the second half. He is their best outside shooter. Had 5 threes in their win over Virginia. Baseline drive, Singler out of the corner, got it.
But again, you just can't say enough about the penetrating kick sequences that you see with Duke time and time again. They always seem to find a guy open.
And Singler playing with a jammed finger on his shooting hand. You see the tape on that right hand. Nice step through by J.T. Thompson, yet another freshman. 45-43. Singler against Washington. Double teamed at the baseline. Thomas very close to touching that on the rim.
And Seth Greenberg very close to jumping out of his gym, believing that it was basket interference.
Blocked, and here comes Duke.
Nice job there by Henderson. Stepping up defensively and getting a hand on that.
Singler was wide open. Now he gets the screen. Into the lane. Singler just taking over one-on-one.
That way might have gotten away using that offhand, although I think Deron Washington not getting calls because he's been such an actor in the first half. The officials decide they're not buying it.
Here's a hold away from the ball. That's going to go against DeMarcus Nelson.
And take a look at Singler. You talk about a guy that handles so that right hand push out. He did make contact, maybe not enough. Take a look once again. It's hard to see on that one. But Deron Washington has acted and flopped a few times too many, maybe for the officials' liking.
I think that was probably a legitimate foul call, but you're right, that's probably why he didn't get it.
But you give Singler a lot of credit. Again, so versatile at his size.
Nelson took a forearm right in the chops, ends up with the basketball for his trouble. The lob to Singler. Great play by DeMarcus Nelson.
And this was the problem Virginia Tech had in the beginning, actually in the middle of the first half when Duke went out to an 11-point lead. Open floor turnovers leading to transition baskets. They cut that out towards the end of the half, and that's why they were able to draw within 4.
Tough man-to-man by both ball clubs. Basayo tries to penetrate with a runner down the right side of the lane. Basayo now with 14. No quarter asked, none given. Paulus for 3. In and out. Singler. And Washington really upset. He thought he was pushed out of position. 53-45. Thorns in to run the ball club. And that's going to be a foul on Washington or Thorns?
Looks like Washington. We take a look right here. 2-on-2 break, but both defenders with DeMarcus Nelson with a great pass, and then Basayo taking it on his own off the bounce. And Deron Washington getting the short end of the stick on both ends.
Paulus, he was hit. Paulus knocks down the 3. The foul is on Thorns. No, they're going to wave it off. They called a foul on Singler away from the ball.
We're going to take a look at Singler wrap right there. And once he wraps him with that arm, I guess the officials said that he used that arm to ward off. And Washington was the beneficiary of that one.
Basayo
off balance.
Yes, he was. Offensive rebound and the kick out and the fresh 35 on the shot clock. Thorns trying to penetrate against Paulus, goes back, takes the shot. Some contact on the shot. Singler used his free arm to ward off his defender. McClure, he was pushed in the middle of the back by Washington. Now Washington back against McClure, Duke's best one-on-one defender.
Timeout, Hokies.
And Seth Greenberg wants a timeout. What a game. 16:20 to go. Duke by 8 over Virginia Tech. That's Deron Washington's mom, Denise, who has enjoyed the action tonight, and certainly her son is right in the middle of all of it, Len.
Well, I'll tell you, Deron Washington trying to be the catalyst, trying to keep his team tough, trying to get some things started, maybe send a little message, plant some seeds, and boy, those seeds are germinating. They're growing quickly. You know, he's flopped a little bit. He's been banged a little bit. He's going to go home one big bruise when this game is over.
I think the plants have already matured.
He just got his shirt pulled on that one.
Leaned in on that one. A lot of contact on both sides. No call. Paulus cut off by Thorns. Everybody got a piece of that. No goaltending.
Well, the reason why they didn't call goaltending, I know Mike Krzyzewski from his angle probably thought it should be. That ball was going to come up short. At least from where I sit right here. See right there, it would not have hit the rim. No, that wouldn't. No, that would not have hit the rim. You could almost look at it. If we could have seen it, I guarantee if you could draw the trajectory on there, it would not have
If that's the case, that is the rule. If the ball does not have a chance to hit the rim, it is not goaltending. I think it was going to hit the rim.
That's a little tougher to judge from there, from the back end, but you know, in the end, in my opinion, it didn't look like it was going to hit the rim, and the officials agree with me, so there we go.
Oh, and that makes you right, doesn't it?
Well, it's just like a jury, man. It was definitely on the way down.
Paulus kicks it into the corner. The three won't go. Basayo with a rebound. He kicks it out to Thorns. Nice dish to Thompson. That emphatic enough for you. Thompson has 11. And it's a 6-point game again. There is no back down from the Hokies.
They're young. They're enthusiastic.
King with a miss. Basayo with a rebound.
And they're showing some toughness right here.
Basayo with a runner. King with a loose ball. King has rebounded well, something that Duke really needs coming off the bench. And McClure ahead of the pack, and Paulus found him perfectly.
Well, great vision by Greg Paulus, keeping his head up as he's dribbling. Under control. This is the #3 team in the country, folks. You know, they bend, but they don't break.
They don't even bend much anymore.
That's right, beating conference opponents by average of 16 points a game.
No basket, but a foul, and bodies continue to fly as Thompson got another point-blank look. He'll go to the line when we come back.
You're looking at Levi LaValle and Steve Martin, not the comedian, having a little practice run for speed and style. What if you could throw tricks in the middle of a race? That's what you can do. Speed and Style debuting at Winter X Games 12 tonight on ESPN.
Thank you, Sal. Love to watch guys doing tricks on snowmobiles. You got to be kidding.
Well, it's all about style and speed in that one. And with plenty of snow out there, those guys are definitely not shortchanging the folks who are out there watching.
The Princesses have their birthday wishes in hand, and Duke has an 8-point lead. It's almost cold enough here in Blacksburg to have the Winter X Games right now. Not quite the amount of snow we would need. Thompson, who already has a career high 11 points in this game.
And I think for Virginia Tech to continue to try to close this lead, first of all, they got to make some free throws because they are going to get to the line.
Vasallo had it blocked, calling it a jump ball. Possession arrow will give it to Duke. Got 2 big free throws there, but the offensive rebound and still can't score.
Well, and that's what they have to continue to exploit, their athleticism. At this point in time, that's the way they're scoring. If they get out on the break, got to be able to exploit guys playing above the rim. That's been their bread and butter in this game thus far. Haven't been able to hit any threes, but they've been able to get on the offensive glass and pretty much play above the rim.
Henderson stripped on the way up. Washington, look out.
Almost too much athleticism, kind of out of control on that one. Just should have elevated and gone straight to the rim.
And Nelson held on the way in, and then a lot of contact afterwards. And boy, Washington's right in the middle of it again. DeMarcus Nelson really upset with that contact because it came after the whistle.
But you know what? Once that whistle blows and there's continuation, you can't let the guy get the ball up to the basket. Well, that was an undercut right there.
Yes,
I'd get upset with that as well, although I don't think that was intentional. I think he was trying to get to the spot. But nevertheless, it's Deron Washington, and he is the center of controversy tonight.
He certainly is.
I definitely would have gotten upset for a moment.
He doesn't shy away from it either. Partially blocked, no whistle. There's the hold on Thorns. He just reached out and grabbed Smith.
Well, first of all, bad outlet after a terrific block. A little too anxious is Virginia Tech, but again, I talked about deploying and utilizing your athletes, and on both ends of the floor, Virginia Tech has been doing just that. Block of a dunk right there. You don't see that often.
No. 55-47 in the most physical game I've seen in a long time. Lenny, this looks like an old Big East game about 8 years ago, where they just beat on each other.
Well, we talked about how physical it is. 24 personal fouls in the first half. Look at the hold right there. That is just a flat-out hold. Malcolm Delaney, there's a push-off there. DeMarcus Nelson just really gives away the advantage that they had. And these guys have to keep their cool now, particularly the senior. Washington is senior, Nelson is senior, but they seem to be the ones losing their cool. There's the push-off. Good call by the official. Got to cool down. Here's a young man that's been playing as well as anybody in the ACC, DeMarcus Nelson, really leading his team. And I guess right now he's demonstrating or trying to demonstrate toughness to match what Virginia Tech is showing.
Well, there's the last place you want to be on the floor with a basketball, because you're going to get company in a hurry.
Well, there's a foul call. Thorns trying to tie up Henderson, and Henderson elusive on the floor. Drawing the foul.
Not one single player has backed off tonight. If there has been contact, everybody is giving as good as they get. Henderson, pull up. Got it over Washington.
And that's one of the things Darrell Henderson has mastered over the summer. Being able to put it on the floor, utilize that mid-range game. You know, with him, the way he gets off the ground, he gets in the mid-range. All he has to do is elevate, extend, and put it up softly.
And he's a much better ball handler this year, really worked on his conditioning. It's not a backcourt violation because it was tipped by Smith. Thorns down the lane.
That.
I think he lost it on the way up. Washington, little acting job there, and then Washington knocks Singler over. And they're going to call that an intentional foul, and Singler is wolfing at Washington.
All right, let's take a look. Washington obviously thinks he got fouled right there.
No.
Bit of an act. And I don't know what that was.
I don't think he was trying to hit Singler at all.
I know, but
I think he was frustrated by the no call, although I don't think he deserved to get it. But he did hit Singler, so Singler's entitled to something, isn't he, for being hit?
Yeah, unless it's incidental contact, which I can't tell. I couldn't tell, but the problem is Deron Washington in some ways has made himself the center of controversy, and the officials are now looking at him and maybe picking on him. And he's done it before.
A few weeks after Sean Dockery's miracle shot allowed Duke to escape an upset, Duke left no doubt with their visit to Blacksburg. Sheldon Williams, 24 points, 15 rebounds. The game was marred by an incident late. Deron Washington appeared to kick Lee Melchione in the face. Washington was ejected in that. Both Coach Greenberg and Washington then went to the Duke locker room to apologize after the game. So there's a history with Washington. There's a history between the two teams. And certainly, Washington is too good a player. He is too good an athlete to let the acting affect the way he plays and the way the officials call the game.
But unfortunately, he's brought it upon himself, and
no doubt,
some of the acting is kind of over the top to the point where the officials now ignore the legitimate calls against him, and anything close, his prior offenses have been held against him as well. You don't even do that in law. I mean, when it comes down to committing crimes, unless it's your signature, man, your mode of operation. You know, they can't even use that against you.
Let's see, 7 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 4 flops. .12:44 to go in this ball game. The lead has grown to 11.
There he goes again.
Yeah, he sure did. Smith got it. With a flop like that, you put your team in a hole.
Right, because you just take yourself out of the play. You take yourself off the board. And now he's got to wake up and realize he's not getting those calls. Let's play basketball.
Washington goes in. This time he's fouled.
And that's just playing basketball.
The Mountain comes to life tonight on ESPN. Our coverage of the Winter X Games lifts off Winter X Games 12. We've got the snowmobile speed and style final. We've got the skiing superbike men's final. All coming your way on the Winter X Games 12 on ESPN tonight at 9 Eastern.
So that's why you like snowmobiles. Style. Speed, style.
Style, and you can put a heater in them. Anything warm in winter, I like. Washington hits another free throw. 60-49. Remember, Virginia Tech does not score that many points. It's tougher for them to make up big deficits.
Nice switch right there. Created a problem, and Henderson pushed off.
Henderson called for the offensive foul.
An official timeout on the floor.
Timeout with 11:56 to go. It's an 11-point Duke lead in Blacksburg.
His name is Tanner Hall, and some call him the best all-around skier on the planet. The Tan Man trying to make it 3 in a row with another gold in the pipe tonight. That is all coming up at Winter X Games 12 after the game on ESPN.
All right, Sal, look forward to that. Meantime, this Sports Center 30 at 30. Tom Brady missed the media portion of the practice, perhaps by choice, perhaps not. That's the first 15 minutes. Whether he did eventually go to the field, not yet known. Sports Center has more following the X Games. Tiger Woods is 67 today. He trails the leader by 2 strokes. That was on the more difficult South course at Torrey Pines, where they will host the U.S. Open later this summer. Stay current with ESPN News.
All right, Carl, 11:51 to go here in Len Elmore's type of game. Forearms to the chops, no prisoners taken.
Still got to play some basketball, and again, Virginia Tech has to get back to executing.
Hudson throws it away.
And avoiding the open floor turnovers. And once again, Duke just terrific at denying the receiver, forcing you to either dribble, exchange, or having to go one-on-one with the ball.
And when those turnovers happen in open court, they make you pay. Chiquite and Bell.
There tries again.
Vasallo looks inside. Chiquite tries to reverse, and he's fouled.
Again, DeMarcus Nelson so good at denying, and he just steps out, shoots the gap. See, against Duke, the receivers have to step and meet the ball. You got to take that extra step and come get the ball because Duke is so good at shooting the gap. If you step and meet the ball, there's going to be some contact, and hopefully you get the benefit.
Chiquite has had a tough time at the line. He's only been there 12 times and made 5. Now he's 5 out of 13 on the season. You're going to be one of the guys that's going to be fouled down the stretch. You better learn to make them.
Got a feeling he won't be in the game down the stretch with those numbers.
Smith with a miss. Chiquite kept it alive, and Bell comes out with it. Delaney. And a foul on the rebound. ESPN basketball comes your way on Saturday. 2 games in the spotlight. Noon Eastern, the #1 team in the country. Undefeated Memphis will go up against Gonzaga. Then at 7 Eastern, #9 Georgetown and Big Roy Hibbert in Morgantown to face Bobby Huggins' West Virginia team.
Georgetown learning quickly that nobody in the Big East is going to concede that top spot to them, even though they were picked along with Louisville preseason to finish first in the conference.
Bell misses. Virginia Tech blowing several opportunities to get back the easy way at the free throw line. Shire. There's so many guys on this team you cannot leave alone. The lead has grown to 16. That's Shire's first basket of the game. He's been in double digits coming off the bench 11 times this year.
Well, Virginia Tech still trying to attack. They're getting some calls now, but they've already missed 8 free throws, 11 of 19. And as you mentioned before, lost opportunities. They're going to look back at this game and just wonder if they lose. Wonder why? Well, it begins at the free throw line.
And they've shot pretty well in the last 9 games, Len. They've shot almost 72% from the line. But tonight, they're really hurting themselves. And Washington will go to the line.
It's just emotion that's keeping them from knocking them down, I believe. Got to learn how to calm yourself down. You're still in a basketball game. Collect yourself and take advantage of those free opportunities.
Jerron Washington, 6 out of 8 from the line, 10 points. Another miss. It's not the way to cut into a 15-point lead.
And Duke, on the other hand, so methodical right now. Look how they spread the floor. Maybe taking a little time off the clock.
And I think that's because of their foul problems when Mike Krzyzewski wants to see this game shortened a little bit.
Yeah, he's shortening the game, no question about it, but also trying to get the right matchup.
Singler with a tip-in of Nelson's miss.
Spread floor creates driving opportunities. The help has to come, and then you wind up giving some offensive rebound chances. But on the other end, Duke just kind of laid low right there defensively instead of getting after it.
Thorne's got it to Bell, and Mike Krzyzewski was up imploring his kids to hurry back down the court. And now here's a touch foul, a little hand check. Called on Delaney. That's his 4th. Pretty tough to call a hand check after guys have been getting mugged, isn't it?
Yeah, I would agree. Again, it keeps the players off balance. They don't know what to expect. You know, if you're going to call it tight, keep it tight and be consistent. If you're going to let stuff go, then you're stuck with letting stuff go if you're the officials. You take a look right here. That's it.
That was it.
That's all?
That's why I asked. Smith hits them both. 69-52. Now Lance Thomas will come back in. So will Paulus for Duke.
Well, if you look at the foul situation, you got Singler with 3. You got Henderson with 3. Shire with 4. DeMarcus Nelson with 3.
Washington with a runner. And a pushing foul will be called on Lance Thomas. That's his fourth.
And recognizing that, Virginia Tech has to be cognizant of the fact that whenever they get an opportunity to take one of those guys one-on-one, put it on the floor and drive, they have to do it. And also be ready to pull up and take the mid-range shot because the help is going to step in and try to take the charge.
4 fouls on Thomas. Washington at the line. Got the first. Here comes Taylor King, and Thomas will come out. This is as much Duke depth as I can remember in years and years and years.
And again, it's a different kind of depth because you don't really have a true post player in there. I guess Singler is the closest guy that comes to that. You know, you got guys who are pretty versatile out there, have the ability to shoot the three. They'll spread your defense. Again, another missed opportunity.
Boy. And Duke, of course, hoping to get Zubek back anytime.
And see,
out of that foot injury.
And Mike, here's where Jeff Allen would really help out Virginia Tech. His ability down low. You know, he could draw fouls. He could force the big people for Duke to back off.
Nelson saw an opportunity, gets down the lane. Look at Washington. What a block. Ahead to Thorns. Got it. Washington can jump right out of the building.
Not only can he jump out of the building, he can jump in the picture. He wasn't even in the picture. Nelson never saw him.
The invisible man with hops. Singler gives it up to Paulus. The three just touches the top of the rim, and Henderson, or the top of the net, and Henderson gets the follow as it was kept alive and draws the foul.
Watch DeMarcus Nelson drive into the basket all the way from the other side. Washington got his steps together. I don't think Nelson ever saw him. Because if he did, he instead of using the backboard, he probably would have gone straight for the front of the rim, trying to draw some body contact.
Bell with the foul, and Henderson with the miss. Not a great free throw shooter, only 65%, and Duke not as good from the free throw line as a team as they have been in the past. There's Gerald Sr., who had that great NBA career. Played a long, long time. 70-55, Duke comfortably in control. Fouls right now look like about the only thing that would bring them down. But Virginia Tech has to make free throws as well. Thorns way off on the three.
Yeah, that's not his shot. And again, it's the mid-range shot that Virginia Tech needs to focus on, and not necessarily the threes unless they come inside out. And Duke obviously going back to melting some of that clock, shortening the game.
Duke has gone to the spread since the 10-minute mark. We're down to 7:39. Nelson into the lane. That's tipped by Singler. Paulus down the lane, kicks it out to Henderson. What ball movement. There's the miss. Nearly kept alive by Singler and tipped to Paulus. And a fresh 35.
Again, what the penetration and kick does is forces the defense to scramble, rotate. Then your offensive rebounders can get good position when the shot is taken.
The crowd does not like this tactic, but every second that ticks off brings Duke closer to another win. Nelson, great hesitation on the way in, and he's fouled. Timeout, 7:06 to go. The lead is 15.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by T. Rowe Price, providing investment management excellence for over 70 years. Invest with confidence. And in part by Cisco. Welcome to the Human Network.
This ESPN telecast is available in high definition on ESPN HD, presented by Olivia. And it's time for tonight's game track, brought to you by Turok, the movie. Duke with a 15-point lead. DeMarcus Nelson, 9 points, 4 assists, another good all-around game for him. Deron Washington, 11 points, 7 boards, 3 spectacular blocked shots. and a lot of time spent acquiring floor burns and bruises.
And I tell you, Deron Washington becoming the center of controversy and maybe not getting the benefit of some calls that should have gone his way and creating some situations where he certainly should have been penalized. But for all of that, he is a terrific young man. You know, you ask anybody out there, he's been trying to be a leader. But, you know, you get emotional, you get up for games like this, having had success against Duke before. This is the number 3 team in the country coming into your house, and you want to show well. Just got to keep it under control. He's got tremendous talents, and if harnessed properly, you know, he's going to be a terrific player.
And what effort he gives you every single second he's out there.
Absolutely. You cannot argue with the effort.
Nelson didn't look good on the first free throw, swishes the second. The lead is 16. Can they get Vasallo untracked? I mean, he's a guy who can hit from the outside. Vasallo trying to penetrate here. And certainly he can make shots from the free throw line.
Well, DeMarcus Nelson has been on him, and he's been defended very well. Hasn't really gotten any open looks and had to force some of them.
He sure forced that one. Henderson with a rebound, and it's gotten awfully quiet in here. A sellout crowd just sees this coming now with 6:34 to go. And this was a terrific coaching move by Mike Krzyzewski. Had a lot of guys in foul trouble. Took the air out of the ball at the 10-minute mark. And Virginia Tech just hasn't been able to do anything to pull any closer since.
And the other thing that allows them to do that is their inability to play zone. As Seth Greenberg said, man-to-man is what they are. If they played some type of extended zone pressure, they might be able to force a little more action from Duke instead of allowing them to almost go to a modified 4 corners.
Yeah.
If any young people out there remember what 4 corners is.
Vasallo got a good look at that last 3 in rhythm, but couldn't hit it.
3-shot clock. Carolina made it famous.
Yep.
Putting guys in the 4 corners and just delaying the game, taking time off. Phil Ford was a master.
Phil Ford, you could not simply get the ball away from him. Paulus with a nice runner. And here's the steal back the other way. Singler gets the ball as Bell went down hard.
And that's the same play with Washington and Kyle Singler where feet get tangled. And Seth Greenberg is saying, why not us? Why don't we get that call? Especially when it's in front of the bench.
Sure. 5:16 to go in this game, and it's 73-55. Duke trying to run its record to 16-1 overall, 4-0 in the ACC. Henderson, a lot of contact, no whistle as Washington goes down, and Washington is not going to get the benefit of the doubt the rest of the night. I guarantee you that.
Hokies.
The mountain will come to life tonight when we're done here in Blacksburg. You can watch ESPN with our coverage of Winter X Games 12. Keep your eye on an exciting field of the Snowmobile Speed and Style Final, and you can catch the great Tanner Hall in the Skiing Super Pipe Men's Final, Len's favorite event. Winter X Games 12 on ESPN tonight at 9 Eastern. Here are the standings. If Duke wins, they would go to 4-0 and maintain their half-game lead in the loss column over North Carolina and Boston College. Clemson, the leader of the pack of the teams with 2 losses as everybody tries to sort things out. And Maryland tries to get back into it after their upset of the Tar Heels.
Well, that really had to give Maryland a huge confidence boost. But you're only as good as your next game after a game like that with North Carolina. And Maryland with Duke upcoming on Sunday.
And I don't think Maryland has ever not been up for Duke. Vasallo with a runner. And wanted a foul call. Didn't get it.
You know, with all the talk about Virginia Tech's defense, and we have seen some terrific defense by them, Duke on pace to get their season average, about 85 points.
Yep.
And they have just been methodical. They've kept their poise and have been able to go where they needed to go. Certainly Virginia Tech was complicit in some mistakes and certain fouls that and key instances where they shouldn't have fouled. and certainly some bad shots when they should have had better judgment.
Singler with the offensive rebound, got it out to Paulus so he could get a shot before the shot clock expired. Cassell almost lost it. Washington didn't want the three. Spins into the lane and draws the foul. 3 minutes, 57 seconds to go. Duke with a comfortable 18-point lead.
Half racing, half freestyle. It's the newest event at Winter X Games 12, and it's called Speed and Style. And as some of the boys proved earlier in practice, if you come up short in speed and style, bad things can happen. But that is not all. As you can see from this glistening super pipe behind me, we're going to give away some gold in ski pipe. It's all coming up after the game. Back to you, Mike Patrick.
Sal, thanks so much. Ouch. Man, is that tough or what?
And you wouldn't do that to your snowmobile with heaters in them.
Oh, no, sir. I wouldn't do that to me in it. Washington, 7 out of 11 from the line, misses this one. This guy is so spectacular. He's had 68 hits on YouTube.
That is amazing. 68 different pages, different videos of his highlights.
Incredible. We've seen about a third of them, and certainly they deserve to be on YouTube. Got to hand it to Duke. They came out here tonight. They got hit right in the mouth. Washington with another block, but a foul. Not going to be anything easy, and DeMarcus Nelson not happy. And they're going to get DeMarcus Nelson for a foul, and Mike Krzyzewski says he doesn't understand that one. Washington was not going to give DeMarcus Nelson the easy bucket.
No, he wasn't, and he went after the ball. I mean, what are you going to say? But it's Deron Washington, and that's what draws the fire. They don't like each other. There's no question about it. And again, DeMarcus Nelson demonstrating his dislike, but the officials aren't going to let, you know, the verbosity incite something with 3 minutes and 47 seconds. They want to put an end to it right away.
And the technical is also a personal. So DeMarcus Nelson is gone. Deron Washington picks up his fourth. What I was saying is you've got to give Duke credit because Virginia Tech hit him right in the mouth as soon as this game started, and they responded.
Well, and they responded, and they also kept their poise. They didn't back down. As I mentioned, they were able to methodically build this lead, and throughout all the antics, gyrations, if you will, particularly on Deron Washington's part, they've been able to keep their poise up until now. Right now, obviously, these points don't matter. DeMarcus Nelson on the bench, you know, it's kind of a little blemish to get disqualified on a technical and for, you know, verbally inciting something. But in the end, it comes down to the fact that these guys came into this hostile territory and they were able to get the job done. This is the #3 team in the country, and they went about their business like they were supposed to.
Delaney will shoot the technical. He's been quiet most of the night. Makes them both. Tough stretch for the Blue Devils here. They've got Maryland over the weekend. NC State, a team that we saw last night may be emerging. Miami was in the top 25. Then North Carolina, Boston College, and Maryland again. Of course, you can just sort of list the ACC opponents, and it just doesn't get any easier.
Well, historically, the 2 Maryland games and the Carolina games bode the toughest for Duke right now. Although this Duke team, as opposed to last year, you see DeMarcus Nelson sitting, can't shoot the free throws. Gerald Henderson shooting it for him because he's fouled out.
Those games that you talked about, they're both physical and emotional.
And it brings out the best in the Duke opponents, no question about it.
Off of Vasallo. Good defense by Shire. Full court pressure by Virginia Tech.
Now, Deron
looking
Washington
for a miracle right now.
Deron Washington has 4 fouls. I wouldn't be surprised in the next minute or two that he does something. It might even be a little ticky-tack. The officials wind up getting him out of the game as well. I mean, you got to this point without having any altercation. and you don't want to risk any more.
Yeah.
And he's been kind of the catalyst. And again, this is not to say he's a bad young man, because he's not. He's actually a terrific young man. But the way he plays grates on you, you know, if you're the other team.
Shot clock at 1. Shire with a miss, or rather, excuse me, Singler with a miss. Washington back the other way. Little finger roll wouldn't go down for him.
There it is.
Singler fouled by Washington. So he'll be done. Remember, X Games 12 coming up when we're finished here. Shouldn't be that long. 2 minutes and 55 seconds to go. Washington fouls out of the ball game. The young man with so many skills, 12.7 boards tonight.
Unfortunately, only 2 of 9 from the field. Had some big opportunities, missed some layups. But again, you can't argue with his effort. Now, if he can only harness that effort, play within himself, not be so theatric out there, he's going to get the benefit of some calls. He's a senior. He ought to.
You got him starting as a sophomore. Singler knocks down the free throw. Speaking of guys who have gotten better during the year, Singler already has shown, I think, dramatic improvement since he began his college career in November.
Well, he was a pretty good player to begin with.
Oh,
I mean, he had skills. I think he's just gotten a little more confident.
To Lance Thomas.
You know, he's
That's
playing,
a big part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's really just more confident in showing it. Shooting the 3 a little bit more, giving an opportunity to do that. 3-time ACC Rookie of the Week. He's gotten off to a pretty good start.
Delaney goes baseline. Tossed away, recovered by Thompson. And Delaney will try the 3. Rebound goes to Thomas. And Duke will milk another 30 off the clock, already leading by 18 points.
And it bears repeating. Without Jeff Allen, the big bruising middleman, 13 points, 8 rebounds, tough inside presence. Virginia Tech really didn't have an answer inside. Everything came from the perimeter, very few post-up opportunities, very few opportunities to really put pressure on the Duke defense.
It was disappointing to us, too. We were looking forward to seeing that young man in person, but he was fouled. He was suspended for 2 games for making contact with an official.
And you know, he's feeling it right now.
That's his 3rd personal foul.
All right, what's your power 10? What does that mean, Len?
Well, I think it's the 10 best teams in the country, regardless of what the polls say. And you look at Memphis and Kansas, not really a hair's width of difference. Superior athletes playing with a killer instinct. Duke efficient, rhythm, lights out shooting. And you look down Pittsburgh, and I think that's probably to a lot of people's surprise, wondering why they're there. But they've been able to come back, recover from the injury bug, particularly to 2 key guys, Levance Fields, who may come back in March, and Mike Cook, 2 guys that they counted on. But Sam Young, DeJuan Blair, the terrific freshman, and Keith Benjamin, a guy who's sat on the bench for a couple of years, has really stepped it up, averaging high double figures and really filled in the blank. And Pittsburgh is formidable as ever. Jamie Dixon doing a great job. So those are the 10 teams I think right now are the 10 best, the 10 strongest in the country.
That's going to be an offensive foul on Delaney.
And that's his 5th personal foul.
And that'll be 5 on Delaney. I really like these freshmen, particularly the 2 point guards. They've got 2 guys who can play, handle the ball, and not turn it over.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to a little bit of savvy. You know, Thorns, particularly, even at 5'9", fearless going into the mid-range area, able to get his shot off. Now, they've got to develop more consistency from beyond the arc to be able to stretch defenses, both he and Delaney. But these guys are just going to get better and better.
You might wonder why Duke would continue this tack with an 18-point lead. This is because it's something that they're working on for later in the year. Shire knocks down the 3, and the lead grows to 21. But this has not been a 21-point ball game. Thompson with a follow. He extends his career high to 13 points.
Another freshman came in
loaded with him.
Came into this game averaging 3 points and 2 rebounds. So if there is a silver lining to this dark cloud for Virginia Tech. It's the play of several freshmen against the #3 team in the country. They were competitive for long stretches of this game, but, you know, obviously superior teamwork, experience, and poise.
I'd have to say it's a very big dark cloud and a very small silver lining.
I don't know. I mean, look, we're playing with freshmen. They're playing the #3 team in the country. You know, I expected them to lose this ball game, although they were surprising me for a little while. Maybe not by this deficit. But I think Seth Greenberg is another one who wanted his guys to be able to compete and see what happens. Sure. Now he knows he's got some guys that can compete. So I think it's a bigger silver lining because you got a whole heck of a lot of conference schedule to go. This is but one game.
True. This one game will make Duke 4-0. And it will take Virginia Tech under 500 in the conference to 2-3.
Final score, Duke 81,
and that's it.
Virginia Tech 64.
Our final score, Duke 81, Virginia Tech 64. Up next on ESPN Winter X Games 12. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Len Elmore and our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching and good night from Blacksburg, Virginia.
It's all over in Blacksburg. As seen on ESPN, it's Duke over Virginia Tech, 81-64. Blue Devils remain perfect in the ACC this season. They also remain perfect on the road this season at 4-0. They've won 6 in a row overall. Virginia Tech suffers its first home loss this season. Mike Patrick and Len Elmore call the game, and they join us now for post-game extra.
Duke a winner here tonight, 81-64, and I think we said it before, you got to hand it to the Blue Devils because Virginia Tech was going to be physical with them at home as they have been before, and they've been successful doing it. Duke responded.
Well, every bit of that is true, Mike, but Virginia Tech doing it with freshmen, only one real senior out there in Deron Washington, and early it was all about effort, and effort particularly on the defensive end as Virginia Tech did a terrific job of guarding their basket. Even though they went down 11, they came back because of this effort on the offensive glass as well and gained a little bit of confidence. But in the second half, Duke pulled away by doing what Duke does. Transition baskets, getting in the paint, finding the open man, penetrate, and then shooting a three with tremendous range. And, you know, Duke, the #3 team in the country, they're young too, but they show tremendous poise and tremendous balance.
They have only lost once this year. That was an overtime defeat on the road at Pittsburgh, or against Pittsburgh, rather. Duke now 4-0 in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they've got a tough stretch coming up.
Well, they certainly do. I mean, sprinkled in this upcoming schedule, you take a look at the Maryland game. Maryland always having a good time playing Duke. Obviously, North Carolina and Maryland again. And don't forget Boston College. Boston College is one of those surprises of the ACC. You know, they've been a team that's also been surprising the big boys, and I think Duke really will test themselves and find out whether or not they truly belong at the top of the ACC standings.
And I think right now the bad news for the rest of the ACC is that Duke appears to be getting better. They win tonight 81-64.